I'm J.O. from Q100. Thank you very much for coming out today for the great Larry Mccray. Give it up. Yes. So I thought what we would do was we're going to talk a little bit about the new record. We're going to ask Larry some questions, and then I didn't ask Larry if we could do this. Can I ask them some questions to ask you? Is that okay? Some Q&A action.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so everybody knows Larry Mccray, legendary career, one of the great blues artists, without doubt, from so many years ago. Larry and I have known each other for probably 20 years or so. I don't know. It's 25 at least. He says 25 at least. I'm not that old, Larry. So he has got a brand new record out, a brand new record label. So much has happened to Larry in the last year. Just really, things taking off, and really, we're all so happy for you, man. In case you guys don't know, the name of the record is Blues Without You. It is on Joe Bonamassa's record label. Joe Bonamassa, everybody knows, right? He's had an amazing career himself. Self-made dude, never signed a major record deal, opened his own label, and now Larry is part of the family there. So, tell us a little bit, man. You were just telling me a little bit about how the whole thing kind of happened.
Well, about a year ago, my manager, Paul Cook, who I had worked with for 30-something years, passed away in a car accident after leaving a gig just like we sitting here now. We were together, had a great night together, and when he got ready to go, called me to Hall from Arkansas. Hey, Hall, I'll catch you tomorrow. I'm headed on in. I said, all right, I'll see you later. I got to pick up my stuff. So I went and picked up my amps and my guitars, and I got in the car headed home. As soon as I started toward home, his brother called and told me that he had been killed in an accident. I'm like, no way, we just left him. I just left him minutes ago. So by the fact that I was in the tunnel coming across Bay City Forestville Road, I had to come right past it to get to my place, to go home. So I saw the accident and everything.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did.
Oh, wow.
And so since then, everything has really been kind of strange. A lot of good things happen, but most of the people here who know me know that I've been out here forever trying to get a break. It's been like probably 40 years.
Yeah.
With me working roadhouses,
Yeah.
up and down the road, knocking on doors, and it's been some good days, there's been some ups, but it's been a lot of downs also. Mm-hmm. But after the fact that Paul passed away, one of my best friends now, a gentleman that we had known each other for a couple of years before the event come down, but Jimmy Jabara, who was a friend of mine, he was with me that night, and he'd never met Paul before. And so he met Paul, and Paul died the same day. And the reason I keep on speaking about Paul is because everybody who knows me also know that we were synonymous. You said Larry Mccray, and Paul Cook's name automatically popped up.
Right.
And it was one of those sweet sour relationships, to put it mild. We had our moments where we were on the same page, but we definitely would not hedge too as well. But I think that's what makes for success and a good relationship. You can't agree about everything.
Right.
You would want a woman that agreed with everything, but you said, at least I would,
Hell no.
Women is a whole other story.
Well, I'm just saying, in life, anything you deal with, to have a good rapport, you need feedback. You need feedback both ways, and it needs to be some common ground, some middle ground.
Absolutely.
But with all that being said, it's been it's been a very tumultuous up and down career. But since the passing of Paul, I have received blessing upon blessing upon blessing. And it's really been kind of hard to feel good about it, because the way things worked out for him, I wish that things could have been different. I wish that we could have shared some of these moments.
Yeah.
So it's really been tough in that respect, that
Sure.
I feel that I've always been a tough person, enduring and long suffering. And I feel that no matter what the good Lord put before me, unless he take me now, I'm going to get past it. I'm going to endure it. I'm going to get over it. I'm going to get past it some kind of way. Although it might take you 40-some years. But you know what I mean? You have to be determined to get past your situation. So, long story short, Jimmy Jamera and I went out and had a great night of fun together. I lost a dear friend. And 2 days later, he called me back and he had lyrics for the song Blues for Paul. And so when he gave me those lyrics, what he came up with, it was just a natural thing that I knew exactly how to place it once I heard what was going on. So it was a natural thing. So we come up with that. I had already been working on tons of songs myself, along with my sweetheart Peggy, along with another friend by the name of Steve Gilbert. So the pandemic is what allowed me time to sit home and to be able to write some tunes, because for 40 years I've been chasing my tail up and down the road, you know. Yeah. And when you're doing that, it's not big windows for creativity. Right. When you're always on the hunt, when you're always on the go. And I'm sure you got a dose of that and know what that's all about. You've had, you know, things going on in your musical career as well, you know, things to overcome. So after that, Joe Bonamassa called me on the telephone. Now, who would think Joe Bonamassa would call me? And I had some friends that would tell me from time to time, "Hey man, you ought to get a hold of Joe. Hey, Joe played something on this radio show the other night. Hey man, Joe said something good about you." And I'm like, yeah, right. I mean, you know, as a guitar player yourself, I'm a guitar player, and I think that I'm an okay guitar player, but Joe Bonamassa is a crazy guitar player, you know. And he just played to a certain level that I wouldn't think that anybody like him would like anything what I do. So it was very flattering and very surprising for me to find out that he was into my sound. And then, you know, we had met each other on the road a few times. You know, I'd run into Joe and we would talk, and, you know, he knew who I was, I knew who he was. But we had never been, you know, had any real close encounter. So he contacted me and told me that he was coming to Detroit and that we were going to make a record together. So I'm like, yeah, we're going to make a record together. After he decided to come, he told me what date he was coming. When he got there, he said, "Hey man, where you live?" I said, "Huh?" And he said,
2 hours north.
Yeah. He said, "Where you live?" I said, "I'm up in Bay City, blah, blah, blah." He said, "Cool, we coming to your place." And I was like, what? So,
wow.
I threw a bunch of shit under the rug, behind the fridge and all that kind of stuff, you know? And I'm like, "Mr. Bonamassa, come on in." So I'm waiting on them to get there. That morning they were supposed to get there, and they wasn't pinpoint on time on the next. So I'm ready, I'm dressed, I'm ready for them to get there, to get to the house and everything. And so I kept on telling Jim, I said, "They ain't coming." You know, just like that. They ain't coming. And man, next thing I know, here comes this black SUV pull up in there. It was them guys, man. I damn this shit.
Yeah?
I couldn't do that out of my mouth. I'm like, "Joe Bonamassa, what are you doing at this time, man?"
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
And so, you know, it just started snowballing. You know, one thing led to the next. They come to the house, and I think they came expecting us not to have any music. But I had 2 years to sit around and fiddle around and come up with songs. So I had enough for 2 or 3 hours. You know, so when they got there and found out that we had songs, they was like, "Oh, this is going to be easy. This is going to be way easier than we thought."
Yeah.
So they came in July. They came on the 12th, 13th, 14th of July. They left on the 15th. On the 28th of August, I was in LA at the Ocean Way. And we started to record.
So Ocean Way, so it's East West Studios now. Ocean Way Studios is one of the most famous studios in music history. I mean, everybody has recorded there. You name it, from Sinatra to Metallica. I mean, it's absolutely one of the most amazing. What was that
they
like?
Said they're in the top 4. They said we were one of the top 4 studios in the world in the whole recording industry. So
Right. Oh, absolutely. I'm not a bit surprised. I mean, it's still the center of the music universe in Los Angeles, which is hard to believe because studios are closing like crazy, especially big ones like Ocean Way,
Right.
which has got a lot of overhead. The days of 24-hour recording are gone, and so that makes it difficult. But what was it like recording at Ocean Way? That had to be amazing.
Well,
East West.
It was a very amazing experience. I mean, we were in the B room, and in most studios, the B room means the B room. That it's not not the main deal. But at the Ocean Way
East West.
East West, at the East West, that's supposed to be the magic room.
Ah.
So I mean, Joe was a gentleman, man. I mean, he pulled out all the stops. He didn't hold nothing back. He let me use his Dumble amps. He let me, play his expensive guitars. And I come to find out the other day that right now to buy one Dumble combo, it'll cost you about $150,000.
What?
Yeah.
150 grand.
$150,000.
Well, he's famous for his gear acquisition syndrome. You know what I mean? That guy, he's got like 100 guitars that all cost $10,000 a piece. And, I can't.
And then the cheap
that.
ones.
You can get a Dumble mod. Don't worry about it. That's cheaper.
Right. Well,
That's great though. Your tones, man, on this record is. You and I were talking about this before. Are a little different than the tones that I've heard with you before.
Right.
Is it Dumble? You think it was Dumble amps?
I was using Dumble. I used some blackface Fender and basement. I used the Tweed also. So I mean, mostly it was just plugged into the amp. Normally I have stuff on the floor what I use to try to get my sound, but that's when you're trying to workhorse one amp and trying to get one amp to do everything,
right?
Opposed to having amp assignments, for different things. But it was really good, and like I said, the thing that really surprised me how free he was with everything to try to give me the best that he could give me.
I mean, he's got a lot of faith in you. I mean, that's exactly why. He has faith in this record. He thinks this record is going to be successful. He's obviously a fan. That's important, right? I mean, that's the best scenario.
Another thing that I didn't know, he told me that what a lot of people don't know, I don't speak about much of, but back in the early 90s, when they formed the Point Blank label, I was the first act to sign to the Point Blank label, and it was kind of launched on my project. So after I became a Point Blank artist, here comes John Lee Hooker, Albert Collins, John Hammond Jr., Johnny Winter, Pop Staples.
Yeah.
So Kenzie Report.
All
So
those
they loaded up. But meantime, I was the poster child for Point Blank Records.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so I mean, Joe tells me that when he was a kid, I don't know how old he was, but he went to Point Blank with his first project, and he tried to get signed to Point Blank. And you need to hear him tell the story. He said back in them days, he said when they don't sign you, kid, well, you
13-year-old white boy walking the door when they got all these old school blues guys.
Right.
Yeah,
so he was like, well, kid, come back in a couple of years, this and that other. And he said they would give you a stack of CDs. So in this stack of CDs was one of my CDs. And he said he listened to all the CDs, and when he came to he said, who is this fucking guy, Larry Mccray? And he put it on, and that's the only thing that stuck with him.
Wow.
And so that's what introduced him to my music, back in the day when he was just young. So the same with Josh Smith. Josh Smith was just, he must have been about 13 years old, 14 years old, a little kid from West Palm, but he could really play guitar.
Yeah.
Wasn't much of a singer back in then and was really shy. Josh Smith, J.D. Swords, and Derek Trucks were all the Southern Florida kids, and they were all about the same age, and most of them at that particular time wouldn't look up past their tennis shoes. When they play, they look right down at their tennis shoes and play. So I knew Josh from those days. And then when he got to be a grown man, he left and went to California. Yeah. And he was out there about 4 or 5 years, and when he went out there, I ran into him out there, man, and he had become
Yeah.
a beast on the guitar.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, Josh, what you been doing? I said, well, I know what you've been doing. You've been woodshedding.
Yeah, right.
And he became the player that he is. And I knew a long time ago that he was an alpha dog. You know, he was going to be a front runner.
He's got quite the studio out there now too that a lot of blues guys wind up going to. And I've seen this studio, and it's like in his house in the basement.
Right.
You know, but he's got a lot of good analog gear, and Josh Smith's another guy you guys should all check out. He's an amazing guitar player. But is he signed on Bonamassa's label too? Because I know they work together a lot.
They produced together. I don't know what label Josh is on, but he just released it.
Right. Yeah, he just released a new record.
Mm-hmm.
When you were at East West, did you geek out on all of the paraphernalia and everything? Did they have a lot like pictures of Frank Sinatra and bands and stuff that in there? All the platinum records all over the place.
Well, another thing I come to find out about Bonamassa's situation and Frank Sinatra is that his manager is the son of Frank Sinatra's manager.
Now it's all starting to make sense.
Roy Wiseman, who managed the show, is the son of Wiseman that managed Frank Sinatra.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they got some old.
That's a damn good connection.
Oh, they got some old connections going on right there. So
wow.
Yeah.
Man, you go back that far. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the songwriting? So these songs that are on the new record, you pretty much had done before you went out there to record? So is this all stuff that you guys picked, like the best, 10, 12 songs, whatever, as far as they're concerned?
They picked the songs.
They picked them? Yeah.
I just pitched them and they picked the ones that they wanted to cut.
Right. There's horns on here. There's strings on here, which I've not heard from you before. I assume that's Joe Bonamassa's production that brought that in. But you were saying that you were really happy with that, and you liked the fact that, is it a different sound for you and kind of fun to do something different?
Oh, it definitely was. And on my second record, which was called The Delta Hurricane, I did get a chance to work with a horn section. Back in that day, I worked with the Uptown Horns from New York. But I never got a chance to take it to the road.
Right.
So I did some tours with Gary Moore in the early 90s. When I went with him, he had Albert Collins was his sitting guest, Albert Collins and Albert King.
Right.
Uptown Horns were touring with Albert Collins at the time. And so they had played on my record also. And I was the opener group for Gary, on the tour. And so we were going to have the Uptown Horns and everything. They wanted to do it for nothing, just to play it.
Yeah.
But Gary wouldn't allow that to happen. We couldn't
the bane of the opening band's existence.
couldn't have one. So,
oh man. Yeah. And Reese Winans played on this record.
Mr. Reese Wyman.
Man, come on.
That's one individual. I had a chance to meet him about 15 years ago. Up in Winter Park, Colorado. They used to have a winter festival up there. And they had Anna Poppy, Reese Wyman, Jimmy Hall, myself, Joanne Shaw Taylor. It was enough musicians up there, this whole festival up there. And I got a chance to meet him then, but never got a chance to really hang around him and know him very well. And I got a chance to spend 8-9 days with him, man, and that's just one of the most gracious cats you'll ever meet out there playing music. But what a monster on his instrument.
Oh yeah. Do you guys know who Reese Winans is? Keyboard player for Steve Ray Vaughan?
Yeah.
He's gone on to a pretty good studio career working with a lot of artists. He doesn't tour really, but he does a lot of studio work. Does he live in LA now or?
Nashville.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He's in Nashville.
Yeah. So he's doing a lot of work, but that's huge, man. So there's a lot of great players on this record.
Travis Carlton.
Joe, who?
Travis Carlton.
Yeah.
Larry Carlton's son. On bass.
On bass? Yeah. Who was the band primarily in the studio?
It was Reese Wyman. It was Travis Carlton. Lamar Jackson on drums. Joe and Josh on guitar.
Joe and Josh. Oh, I didn't know Josh played on it.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's great. So there's a lot of big time players on this record. It is like I say, I feel like it's Some of it is different than what we've usually heard from Larry. It's a little more, I don't know, some of it's like a little more sophisticated. But Joe also has done that of late. Like he's gone into the horns, he's gone into the strings a lot on his stuff. You know, it's almost like a Ray Charles vibe, sort of. You know what I mean?
Right.
On some of his stuff,
Well,
which is
that,
great.
That has always been my school of music. I come up listening to Ray Charles, Johnny Adams, those type of vocals like that, Bobby Blue Bland, Bobby Parker. But because of the generation that I come through at the time when I came through, you still had a lot of great guitar slingers out there. Johnny Winter was still out there playing blues. Albert Collins, Albert King, B.B., Gary Moore.
Right.
And so Pat Travers, I mean, when you start thinking about it, you can think of a whole list of great guitar players that were still playing. So at that time, the musical focus was more on being a guitar player opposed to being a performer or a singer or
songwriter.
A songwriter. People wanted guitar in the face, and that's what all of us tried to do. Back in those days. So it was a different approach, but I have always wanted to experience and dabble more from a soulful side. And I think that what this record did was allow me to concentrate more on the song and something that felt good, opposed to having to play guitar.
Blazing solo, right.
And I'm an old man now anyway, too. Leave it to the kids. Let them
I know.
Go ahead. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. So the song, I feel like the songs on this new record are a little bit more like major type sounding songs, like almost like major type blues than, you kind of like your standard Chicago blues or the, stuff that's a little more, dominant and minor and stuff like that.
I think it was a little bit more structured.
Yeah.
It was a little more structured. And I think that...
like you've gotten away from what we call the 1-4-5 progression on this. I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff on here,
and so, I mean, I want to keep, for future references, I like to keep some of that element, involved in my making music. But I don't want to get caged and trapped into one thing either. I still love the blues as well, and we did some on there, so that's the good thing about this record. It's got some straight blues, it's got some ballads, on there, it's got, a couple of rock, it's got a little bit of something for everybody. It's a pretty solid, right down the middle record, and I think it would go good in anybody's blues collection.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, that being said, I think we ought to let Larry play some of these tunes. What do you think? You can call me up when you're ready. You want to do now? All right, right there. All right, we're going to play some of this stuff.
This song right here is called Without Love, It Don't Matter. And, being home with the pandemic, I wrote a lot of things, kind of life subject. I wrote one called No More Crying, No More Pain, which is about people dying. Without love, what does it matter? Good die young, why am I still here? Stuff like that. So, I mean, it was a time of reflection. And I think that that's part of the reason some of the songs come out the way they did. But I was feeling love at the time and feeling that I needed some love, you know what I'm saying? And it came to me, if you don't have love in your life, you don't have nothing. You don't have nothing. So this is called What Does It Matter? Just don't run. Someday the moon comes up, just despite the sun. Forecast out for sunny, but my shoes are bad, so get wet. Yeah, without expectation. matter? Tell me what does it matter? No matter what other folks think, or how much you smoke and drink, it ain't nothing that you can do. Or when your heart's been broken too. Was it lies and really fiction, or some kind of strange addiction? You didn't like it 'cause it wasn't true, but you still got to push on through. Just another day, a nickels and quarters. Well, that waited browsing on your plate, it sure ain't what you ordered. With a whole lot of ketchup, well, it seems get right and not good. They got the table, get the floor, get it shattered. Without love, it don't matter. Tell me what does it matter? I've been paying for love. I'm like a broke boy now. I thought I healed the monologue, but now I just can't find her. Oh, 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 my baby's gone, and she ain't never, ever coming back no more. Tell me what does it matter? Without love it don't matter. Tell me what does it matter? Without love it don't matter. Tell me what does it matter? Without love it don't matter. Tell me what does it matter? You give us a good?
Give me some of this.
It's got a bird on the top of it.
Off? Yeah, it was. Good call. All right, there you go. That is Larry Mccray. He let me take a solo, but come on.
Another one I'm going to share with you guys. This is called Down to the Bottom. And it's all about, like I said, at that time, when the pandemic, it was all about love, man. I wasn't feeling the love stuck out on the cornfield like that by myself. I was like,
Yeah, well, I think we were all feeling a bit isolated at that point, were we? And plus, there was no touring, no nothing.
And nothing in sight. Not even.
Yeah, well, that was the big concern for us, right? It was like, when was this gonna come to an end?
Right.
And I think now things are coming to an end. But I was telling some people that you don't seem to be having this problem, which is good because you're working with a brand new agency. So you're able to get these tours going, which is good. There's a lot of like backlogged bands that are, and so some of my stuff has been like put back because it's like, it's 2 years ago, and we got to figure out how to fit all this in. So let's talk a little bit about the tour you got coming up, because you're about ready to hit the road, right?
Yes, sir.
Hey, you just got back from the road.
I did 6 weeks. I did 3 weeks with Devin Allman, 4 weeks with Devin Allman.
Devin Allman, yeah.
And Samantha Fish, Devin, Samantha, and Jimmy Hall. And they went all to Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, and then we hit all those states. And then after that, I left from there and I went to Florida, and I did 3 weeks in Florida. And I did a gig in Florida this April that I had tried to do in 2019.
Yeah, right.
So 2019 canceled, 2020 canceled, 21 canceled. 4 years later, in 22, we finally got a chance to do the gig.
Yeah, so the pandemic was hard on touring musicians, you know, to say the least.
Yeah.
But you do have some shows coming up, right?
I got some shows coming up. I'm next Tuesday. I'm doing Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'm doing Columbus, Ohio. I'm doing Detroit, Michigan, and I'm doing Cleveland. Then we have 2 days off, and then we're going to go to the East Coast and do that same run, you know, the same New Hampshire, Jersey, Massachusetts, Vermont, you know, all the Connecticut.
Yeah.
The whole thing out there. We'll be out there until the 27th. We come home on the 27th, and the 30th, we go to Europe. Got some dates booked in Germany.
Nice.
And after we come from that, we'll come home and go to the South and do a couple of festivals. Come back and do a few clubs, and then I'll go to Europe again with Devin Allman.
Nice.
I'll spend 2 weeks there with him. So
good for you, buddy.
It's just like I said, it's been really good. I mean, it's been really good for me. I just feel a little guilty.
Are you shitting me, man, dude? You put in the road, buddy. You put in the time. You paid your dues. I mean, this is the life of a touring musician, gang. I mean, it is like, you know, this guy's been on the road for 40 years. And, you know, let me say, you know, it's up and down. It is up and down. But I'm so happy for you now, man. You're really getting the credit you deserve. I mean, I feel like, when we first met, I felt like you were huge. I'm like, oh my God, it's Larry Mccray, you know what I mean? And so I can remember
them ups and downs, you know. It's good today, and tomorrow it could be pretty doggone crappy. But they say you're only as good as your last gig.
Yeah.
You're only as good as your last gig. So whatever kind of last impression you made, it lasts over until you redeem yourself.
Which is nice when you're on the road because you can redeem yourself the next night, right? If it's the last show, you're like, oh.
Right.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
But you know what? And the travel gets harder as you age. Sure. I traveled all of my 20s, all of my 30s, all of my 40s, all of my 50s. Now I'm in my 60s, and Papa need a brand new band. It's really different.
It is.
And I have a lot of friends here that I've known for all the years, and they agree that, you know, 50 wasn't a problem, but 60, you know, 60 is a little concerning. Not that I can't still do it just yet, but I feel changes that I didn't feel.
Yeah, man, of course.
On the mother milestone.
Now, are you taking tech with you on these tours, or do they have techs for you there?
They have. Samantha's people and Devin's people took tip-top care of me.
Oh, that's nice.
On the road.
So you weren't carrying your own amps and that on that tour?
No.
Yeah, good for you. No, you don't need that. So a guitar tech or someone that helps you with your gear is someone that we usually hire, like go out on a tour and handle all of our stuff, so we don't have to do anything. We just walk up on stage and play. But that's rare.
It makes a difference.
Especially now, right? Because everything is depending on what it's a business. It's a freaking business, right? It's like, can you afford the tech this time? Can you afford to take somebody out? That's nice when you get on these package tours, though. Yeah. Because then they probably hire a tech for the tour, and then everybody uses the same guy.
Right.
Yeah, that's great.
And that particular tech was a guy that worked a lot with Dweezil. Zach.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I'm a big Dweezil Zappa fan.
Yeah,
so
that's nice.
Well, he promised me that the next time that he comes to town with Dweezil, he's gonna call me. So I hope to make it look.
That dude's a monster, man. Oh man, that dude is a monster. Yeah. Okay, let's do another. What do you got?
Another song. I got one called "Down to the Bottom."
Is this a GC thing?
GC.
Yeah, I got you.
And I always wanted to be involved with country music. I'm a big country music fan.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in Arkansas listening to Porter Wagoner, Speck Rose, Buck Henry, Grant Paul Jones, Minnie Pearl, Farron Young, that type of thing.
Old Opry. Grand Ole Opry.
Grand Ole Opry. So, I'm a big Conway Twitty fan.
Uh-huh.
And so I have always wanted to at least, I used to play in a country band.
Yeah.
But, I've always wanted to try to dabble in that myself. So it's not straight country, but it's got a little country feel.
Yeah.
And hopefully that anybody appreciates country, they might be able to appreciate this song also.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
It's called Down to the Bottom When a Good Love Starts. Sometimes in life, you can't get what you want. Gotta learn how to make it on what you need. Sometimes in love, when a heart is broken, only way to heal it is to let it bleed. When love lost, I was out there searching. I've been searching, looking through a lost and found. But they say that good things always rise to the surface. But before you make it to the top, gotta start from down, way down, down to the bottom of the river, where the true love flows. Way down, way down. To the bottom of the river in the valley where the true love flows. We all go to work for things worth having. The things worth having aren't always worth the same. Life without love, well, it ain't worth living. If all you're doing is chasing dreams. There's so much within me, way down inside, that somehow you get to where the deep emotion lies. When it started in the universe, where to be reside. My soul knows your spirit, and this you can't deny. Talking about down to the bottom of the river, where the true love flows. Way down, all the way down, to the bottom of the river in the valley where the still waters flow. To the bottom of the river in the valley where the true love grows. To the bottom foundation, solid as a rock. You got to start from the bottom if you want to make it to the top. Well, the heart needs the mind needs the spirit, and the body needs the soul. Come on, baby, let's go. Talking about now, way down, way down, oh, way down. Hey, hey, yeah, go down. Way down, down to the bottom of the river where the trees will flow. Way down, all the way down to the bottom of the river in the valley where the trees will flow. To the bottom of the river in the valley where the still waters flow. To the bottom of the river in the valley where the still waters flow. Hey, well, I'm talking about
All the way down. That's awesome. Let's just keep going. Got a couple more.
I got a couple more here.
You got some in here, I know you do.
Another thing that I thought was interesting on the record, we're doing something called No More Crying and No More Pain. Not feeling the love again, right? That's I ain't gonna lie, it was a lot of that, but there's some happy stuff out there too.
Yeah.
But those have been the fun ones to play, and it's all about life, so that's what I try to think about and try to write about.
Absolutely.
I hope
You
I'm
gotta have
far
love in your
better
life,
than
I mean, it's so important, especially in this business. All right, I'll do
This is
next
called No More Crying. I'm gonna do this for the day. I'm gonna take a little break and come down and sip on some cider again, and I'll come back and do some more. One thing that I would like to thank you all for coming and showing up. It's not about me trying to play or trying to do a gig. If that was the case, I think we would have had the whole band here. At least Jacob and I could have threw something together. We could have had a drummer and a bass player and some more musicians here. But it's all about hanging out, and I'm so happy that you guys come tonight to support the cause. It's been a truly long time coming for me, and I can't express my thanks enough. Like I said, I know 90% of the people that's here tonight, and I consider everybody here a dear friend because most of the people here I have known 20 plus years. And I'm just so thankful that you guys thought enough to show up and support the music. I thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
And don't forget, gang, of course, the CDs are available here tonight. There's a table in the back with a bunch of merchandise and stuff like that. Please go back there, check it all out. The new CD is, of course, available in, other stuff back there too, right? I didn't really see, but there's some other CDs back there.
Got some CDs, got some of the older CDs. I got the Believe It CD. I have Gibson Session. I have Larry Mccray. And now the
new one.
Yeah, the new CD. So
Awesome.
I think I got 4 CDs right there.
Awesome deal. This is your chance to get them, folks, and get them signed by the man. All right?
No more crying, no more pain.
See a C chord.
I seen you walk into the room. You had tears in your eyes. Next to the sadness filled with gloom. Oh, I wanna see you cry. If you telling me you love me, it's too soon for me to go. But I've waited much too long to see the Lord. No more crying. Hear me laughing every time it rains. I'm talking about no more crying and no more pain. Freedom passes while going. I'm just one step away. No memory alone. Cause in my heart's racing. Yes, it's hard to find the good when you lose someone you love. But I'll be waiting for you there with a play. Cause I'm going where it's no more crying and no more pain. I ain't gonna never leave your side. Cause in your heart is where I'm standing. Singing, smiling every sunset. Giving everything a tiny rain. I'm talking about no more crying and no more pain. No more crying. Hear the laughing every time it rains. No more crying. No more. See me smiling every sunset. No more crying. No more, no more, no more. No more. I'm talking about no more crying. It's all about no more crying, no more pain. It's all about no more crying and no more pain.
All right, you want to take a break? Let's have a big, huge hand for the great Mary Mccray, everybody.